Welcome back, macrame artists. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I hope you subscribe. Here we are. Let's finish this top, y'all. Top ended up being a little bit big in the bodice part for the model, as you may be able to tell. She's a small, ended up being like a medium. So the one dress form that I switched it to is basically a medium in the chest. So just keep that in mind. It's really going to be whatever size you put it on any kind of mannequin you're using. So if you watched part one, I'm just continuing the pattern from before. I make a crisscross and then I do a row of double half hitches to the right and a row of half hitches to the left to begin. So it's an upside down V. And then I do a square knot in the middle, in el medio, with 4 of the pieces of rope, cord, string, whatever you want to call it. It's actually yarn, big twist textile yarn, which is no longer available. And as I've mentioned in the previous part 1, you can just use Hobai yarn. It's very similar. And then once you do the square knot, you do a row on either side, making a V of double half hitches to the middle. And then it creates another V to the side of it once you have made 2. So just do that all the way around. There is no seaming of the front and the back. The only things that will be seaming in this video, sorry, that was my son, are the cuffs. So I'm gonna be speeding up the next portion of this because it's the same thing over and over again all the way around. I do like 8 to 9 rows. If you need it longer, just continue on. You'll have to add about 12 inches per extra row. And by row, I mean like the diamond pattern. So just consider each time you do one of those an extra row below. Let me see what else. So I'm going to speed this up. All right, so we're in the sped up portion of this. You want to skip ahead. You may be able to see the timestamps. I should have added them by now. If not, it takes a day behind my uploading of adding the timestamps. There's a lot that goes into the videos, believe it or not. And yeah, I hope you like this. We're going to go on to the cuff. I won't start talking again until we get to the cuffs part. And there's some important information that will be there. All right, so now I'm gonna cut it down. I wanted to add a bottom hem, as I mentioned in part 1. However, I ran out of this particular type of rope and it's not available anymore. So I just had to leave it fringy at the bottom, and I evened everything out so it looked even all the way around. However, if you do want to add a bottom hem, here's how you would do it. You would just make the macrame ribbing, like double it, the amount of rope that I used for part 1 for the top ribbing. And then what you would need to do is you would fold it in half after you finish the length that goes around the waist. And then you would have to use an embroidery needle to like sew it onto the bottom, just like you'll see me doing the cuff. So I just wanted to let you know that you can do that. You would have to fold it in half over those little fringy pieces and then sew through like you're adding on a sleeve or something. I've just re-upped my yarn and rope amounts. I have a bunch in now, so I'm going to be able to show you all how I do a hem on the bottom as well. It can be a little bit tricky with macrame. So now you're watching me. I started the cuff, and you'll be able to see me doing it on a foam board as well after this part. But I'm just making the same, almost exact same diamond pattern, except for there's 2 rows of double half hitches, also called clove hitch on the outer side, as you can see. And there are more pieces. I believe that there are 8. You can make this as small or as large as you'd want. I wanted the sleeves to be much larger, but like I said, I ran out of this rope and it's not available. I could have used blue, but I didn't want it to look off. I didn't want it to look wonky with different colored sleeves. So I'll show you how to attach it. You'll need a little bit of stitch glue so that your knots don't come undone, and you'll need an embroidery needle, or you can just use your fingers to fish through one piece of yarn to attach, as you're going to see shortly. I'm trying to be as detailed in this video as possible because I realize in some of my videos I skip through a lot of stuff due to my impatience. I'm sorry for that. It's just, I have like a mild form of ADD. I apologize, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So just follow along, and you'll see how to attach the cute little cuffs. And like I said again, you can make them as long or as wide as you want to. You just got to add more pieces of rope as you're doing this particular pattern. All right, this may be an easier viewpoint for you to see how I did this. I'm using a foam board with T-pins. The way that I measured how much rope I would need for this is I took my niece's Afro Mama, the model's arm, and I wrapped the rope around her arm. I wrapped it around 2.5 times so that I knew how much I would need in order to do this pattern. I end up doing 4 repeating motifs of the diamond with the square knot in the middle. So what you'll do is you'll take a piece of rope or a measuring tape and wrap it around your arm 2.5 times to get the amount of yarn you're going to need for this particular part. So this is a repeating, once again, diamond pattern. It's got 2 rows of double half hitches on either side because I'm using 8 individual cords. They're not half, they're just 8 individual cords. I tied a knot at the top and I left 6 inches at the top, and then there's 6 inches at the end. You can speed through this part if you already watched me doing it on the mannequin. You're just going to need to make 4 diamond patterns down, and then you're going to fold that in half, and you'll see how I do that in a moment so that they meet. Yes, so if your arm is larger, say you have a large size arm, you're going to need to do 5 of the diamond patterns. If you have an extra large arm, you're probably going to need to do 6 diamond patterns, so on and so forth. Yeah, so just continue watching this, or you can skip ahead if you already saw this on the mannequin. I just wanted to give 2 different visual perspectives. Oh, just repeat what you saw before. I'm just going to go ahead and cut away from this and show you how to move on once you've made all 4 of your diamond pattern. All right, so it's ready to go. I'm going to take apart that top knot, undo it, and I'm going to fold this in half and place it back on the foam board to continue the work. Basically, I'm going to join both sides after I pin it back down. So you see what I'm doing that right now. And you see it makes a nice little cuff hole where the arm will go through. All right, so now I'm just going to double half hitch across, double half horizontal because we're going across, and conjoining them. All right, it's done. Time to start cutting off the remainder, and add a little glue here, stitch glue, which dries clearly. After I get this glue in there, I'll let it dry, and we will begin attaching. All right, so I have everything's finished up there. I'm going to attach to the side. You will need to either measure and mark where your armholes go, or fold in half and figure out where the armholes go if you're not doing it on a mannequin. But you can do this on a mannequin. It's just harder, or off the mannequin. I'm going to take a couple of my 2 pieces that I left attached that I didn't snip, tie it onto the side here, double knot, and then I'm going to feed through and do like an overhand crisscross sewing. You'll see how I do it. I'm basically fishing it through. It's better if I had a embroidery hook with a, not embroidery hook, It would have been best if I had an embroidery needle with a very large eye for me to put the yarn through, but I couldn't find that huge embroidery needle. Also, a darning needle will also work even better. So you could also, if you're a crocheter, you could crochet this on via single crochets. I may do that in the future if I can decide to make another one, especially if I make the sleeves longer. It'll be quicker for me. All right, so now I'm going to speed this part up a little bit, so you'll see it sped up. All right, just as a quick note, you can use a crochet hook to just feed in the ends. You can even not cut the ones that I cut down as short and feed them through all throughout, but I just cut them down because I don't want to do all that feeding through. I do enough of that with crochet. I get sick of it, and it's going to be fine anyhow. You can also put like a little small panel of fabric over that seamed part with some fabric glue so that it doesn't show. Time to add fringe, everyone. You know how much us macrame artists love to have fringe on things. Another idea for you, though, is I'm an ideas lady. You could crochet on, like add a piece and just start crocheting and make the sleeve longer. Or you could add a much, much longer fringe and you could start making a longer cuff around the arm. It's really up to you. I didn't have any more of this rope,